Welcome back to another Zeller podcast. Today we have such a special guest, and we're going to talk about everything about gaming, Web3 gaming. Our guest today is Arslan. He is the Hungry Games founder, and he is also the head of growth at The Sandbox, one of the largest metaverse projects in all of Web3, actually. Arslan has a perfect track record for gaming. Being in companies like Garena and Yuzu. Today we're going to dive into everything about gaming, gaming revenue, what's going in the Web3 space. Arslan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for welcoming me. Nice to see you here.
So you've been in the gaming industry for over 15 years now, and I think you were mentioning about how not many people actually realize that Web3 gaming is really shifting and starting to take revenue from Web2 games. So I wanted to start there actually and say, and you dive into like, what are you actually seeing from the Web3 space being at Sandbox and also having Hungry Games?
Yeah, actually, it's quite similar to my gaming career journey. You know, when I started my career like 15 years ago, free-to-play gaming was seen as as a future promising business model, but nobody really believed in it. So now I see the same concept and same kind of approach for Web3 gaming. And I mean, if you back in 2 years ago when I also joined Sandbox, the Web3 gaming was projected to reach around $25 billion market for in 2025. Now we are 2025. Basically, it's not there. The numbers are not there. But what we see is actually we start seeing Web3 games getting some market share from the Web2 games, which actually just happening a bit of a delay. But the disruption is actually happening now, I would say.
You were previously working at Garena and Yuzu, and you have your own gaming studio, Hungry Games. Why did you pivot into Web3? What was the thing that attracted you about Web3?
Actually, one of the main one of the main motivation that we shifted to Web3 from a traditional gaming studio like Web2 was, the true ownership of the assets that you have. Actually, that's actually one of the things we were seeing. Actually, when I was working with Garena, even Free Fire, the characters were actually sold on the black market in secondary market. I mean, if you still go in Indonesia and different countries, you still see like accounts to like sold in the black market for a certain amount of money. Like you have to pay with this kind of credit card and stuff to get the account details, and then you can start playing it. With the Web3 gaming, so you have this true ownership and true, like digital ownership of those assets that you have, and then you can basically monetize it as a person, as a creator. And second motivation would be also this creator kind of keyword, because Web3 gaming is actually allowing a lot of gamers around the world to create something and to create you basically spend time in gaming, right? So we spend lots of time, like sometimes we play 10 hours per day and stuff, and then you basically create something during this gameplay. So you basically go to, if you play an RPG game, you go to a shop like a blacksmith, and then you create a new armor, so before you could never sell it, or you could never kind of use it in an efficient way. But this time with this true ownership, and then you call it also NFTs, and so you basically can be as a creator within this Web3 gaming concept, and becoming a gamer, from a gamer, hardcore gamer, turning into a creator kind of concept is very attractive for future, and I think that's gonna be the key challenge and the key change that we will see. Actually, or previous time Web2 pro gamers became now creators within the Web3 gaming space, and that's also one of the good motivations that we have.
Do you see a lot of Web2 gaming studios or big producers moving to Web3?
Yeah, actually, so right now like lots of big names like Ubisoft and even Epic. They are actually gradually moving to Web3 space, and I mean they're not completely moving because their main business is in Web2, right? But most of the studios and big top gaming companies, even Unity and all things, they have their own Web3 department and Web3 gaming department, and everybody is actually looking into the space, especially with the current bull run happening. Bitcoin just reached 100K today, and so things are getting more serious and serious. I mean, most of the top Web2 gaming companies, rather developing games on Web3, or they are actually, or just they are doing like R&D kind of department to catch up with the thing. So this FOMO, I would say, that we see in crypto is happening also in gaming companies.
How do you think that it will actually progress? Because one of the arguments for big studios not to enter into the Web3 space is that they already have a clear revenue model. For example, guys like League of Legends, they make their money from selling skins, right? Um, and that's quite a common model. But also, when we take a look at Bitcoin as an asset and all these assets that were sort of used that were not considered by the institutions previously are now being used by the institutions because they feel FOMO from the actual price pressure going up. How do you see sort of like the movement from big guys like, as you said, like Ubisoft, Epic Games, even League of Legends to move over into Web3? Would they put it into their pre-existing games or would they create new games? How would that look like?
They basically keep developing games as their expertise. They don't really necessarily develop a game just for Web3 because we saw in the past that if you develop a game just for Web3, it becomes more like a milking the users kind of business. So I mean the early adapters, early gamers are actually earning a lot. So they got really good amount of revenue. But the ones who's joining in the middle of the game cycle, so they lose money. So it's actually is always it's kind of like a chicken egg question. So there should be always someone who's losing at that scenario. That's why most of the top gaming companies they keep doing their own games, but they put another layer Web3 for monetization purpose. I mean Web3 is not or like play to earn. I would say is not like a proven business model yet, but Web3 is actually already proven in terms of digital ownership and the wallets, and decentralized kind of decentralized kind of environment of those assets that you have. Therefore, most of the top gaming companies that I know building games on Web3, they build Web2 games and then they just use Web3 as a layer to monetize.
Do Web3 games actually make money?
Yes, they make money. I mean, not too many people know about this, but I know a couple of games already making over $15 million a month, and revenues, on their peak time. We have now, as you know, these Telegram games are doing really good, and I see a couple of games already hit $25 million all-time revenue. It's like like Catizan and all these new kind of type of games. It's like tap game or like a merge game. It's a very casual game, but they make huge amount of revenues already in Web3 space, and and it's just happening. I mean, the right now that I can tell you over 10 studios, 10 Web3 gaming studios, which are making really decent revenue, and we will see actually more in 2025.
Where are they actually making this money from? Like, how does maybe to take the tap game as an example, how does a tap game make money?
Well, tap game makes money on the activity because whenever users, tap and they are merging their cats or like some casual kind of gameplay, so they have this opportunity to get an airdrop from the project, from the game itself, and then in order to get this airdrop, they need to also spend money to become like top on the ranking. And basically it's the same, like they buy like some power-ups, some consumables in the game, in-game, with microtransaction, and it's really easy to buy with Tap Games. So you have this Telegram app, and or you have this wallet in Web3 games where you just one-click buy, and then just and then continue on your journey, because that's how actually they monetize the game. So it's microtransactions, I would call it, like free-to-play gaming, but it's more like everything happening on the blockchain.
I see. I see. And what about the larger gaming companies? I think like before this we were talking about Pixel, for example. What is the revenue model that's really driving the company to go forward?
Yeah, their revenue model is similar to the Web2 games, because that's why they are also successful. They don't really differentiate themselves too much from the other games, because we saw in the past, in the first generation Web3 games, most of the game projects that Axie Infinity, on Pegaxi and stuff, they were actually creating huge inflation in the game, right? So they were actually giving a lot of, they let users to create a lot of NFTs, and unlimited NFTs kind of, and then the digital scarcity, we call it, was less than an optimal way, and so therefore the whole first generation games kind of failed, I would say. I mean, they were good for introducing crypto into gaming, but now with the pixels and all these new games, like Off the Grid, this upcoming game and stuff. So we see like the business model is very similar to Web2 games. So you basically buy everything, and then they put the additional layer like NFTs with some digital scarcity, and also monetize through both on Web2 aspect and Web3 aspect. So that's why it's more successful, and that's why we see some better numbers. That's also how Sandbox has actually kept their market share in the Web3 gaming, because we never created inflation with the lands, or lands were always valuable, and then the users basically could see the value of the avatars that they are holding. It was not decreasing, because whenever you launch more, the value is going to be less, right? So, and then we were trying to always give some utility to landowners and avatar holders. Like the landowners, for example, could develop a game and launch the game on their land, and avatar holders would basically play the game and then get some additional rewards. So there were always some ongoing utility with the things that we created. Therefore, Sandbox is still around, and we still positioning ourselves like as one of the leaders in the market.
Yeah, Sandbox definitely is. You could say Sandbox definitely is one of the leaders, considering that one, it's been around for quite a long time, but two, it holds a decent market share, especially of that 25 billion you were talking about. I wanted to dive into a bit about sort of like the direction of Sandbox and in your position of how you're growing it as the head of growth. How do you sort of see the metaverse aspect, the gamification of online meetings or connections through the metaverse? I think there's probably like a couple of companies, notably, for example, Meta, Ergo Metaverse, that was trying to push like the metaverse idea. Metaverse probably about 2 cycles ago, where it was quite big. But how do you see like the transformation of the metaverse today with new technology and the direction of Sandbox?
Yeah, I mean the metaverse, the name itself is actually with, and the hype is actually was really there. And 2 years ago, if you remember, like everybody was talking about metaverse, and we saw like thousands of different companies opening metaverse platforms, and so on. But nowadays, if you see, there are only like bunch of companies stayed in the market. One of them is Sandbox, which were actually doing the gamified the metaverse in the correct way, I would say. And I mean, Meta definitely failed with their try, to create a metaverse, and also like lots of other companies also failed in that thing because creating a metaverse is not like having a meeting with 100 people and the computer with some avatars and stuff. It's more like understanding the real, through digital ownership and kind of creating establishing a creator economy, like creator kind of ecosystem. Sandbox was doing it since 10 years, 12 years. Sebastian and Arthur was actually creating that space since even like in Web2 times. The creator-based kind of UGC um, gaming ecosystem. And it's not easy. I mean, you need to spend a lot of time, you need to spend a lot of budget, you need to connect lots of IPs partners, and that's why we see a lot of other kind of metaverses um, are not there anymore. And then the ones that who could bring some bring the true gamification could survive. And yeah, therefore, I would say the new interpretation of metaverse is more like a user-generated content platform, which is we call it like UGC, and that's actually the new interpretation of like metaverse um, for now.
What type of content are you seeing people upload through the sandbox that is different from, let's say, other content platforms? Um, People generally think content platforms as stuff like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, but you guys are really pushing the idea that metaverse itself can be also a user-generated content platform. What is sort of like the content that you're expecting people to upload, and how does it attract different people than, let's say, YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time the content that we are seeing right now is mostly games because we have creators which are basically, you know, um, like developing games and then publishing it on Sandbox platform. But we see also a lot of people doing some kind of private gatherings, like parties, with this gamified kind of setting within the Sandbox with this voxel characters. And there are like some creators who kind of upload some like art kind of type of content. So I would say like music, art, and gaming are the ones which are really popular from the creator side.
What do you think Sandbox did that made it so successful in comparison to, let's say, uh, other metaverse style Web3 platforms? As an example, maybe like Mana or sort of similar projects.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, that's all about establishing a really strong creator network. So and then taking care of it since years, and I think I can say that we are quite successful in terms of creating this ecosystem compared to other Web3 gaming companies um, uh, in the space, and that is the key element that I would say. And then we always giving this trust to users and investors, you know, to send. And one of the other thing is we basically could really see the growth in Asia, and Asia is actually one of the most important regions in Sandbox. And then because everything is happening in Asia first, right? So the mass adoption is actually happening really quickly in Asia, especially South Asia and Korea, Japan, and so on. And then we were actually also investing a lot in terms of creator ecosystem, also partnerships level in Asia, also like Middle East, Turkey is also one of the early adapters in crypto. So we were actually hacking a bit of the true markets, and we were actually, I would say, in the right place and the right time.
You hold a very important position at the Sandbox, which is the head of growth, and you mentioned like your guys' growth has just been phenomenal in these locations. What is like some strategies that you deployed at the sandbox to grow in these countries that maybe some people from the audience can actually pull from?
Actually, I mean, I would definitely give this question to our other head of growth because I'm mostly focusing on certain regions like Turkey, MENA, and so on. And but yeah, so we have like a dedicated team for each regions, and they were actually they are really close with the community, and they are also close with the IPs and partners. And so we basically give through like a, I would say like a ownership to those growth managers to check to basically grow the country and their market, and that's actually one of the success story, I would say. And 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 secondly is actually um, we take the trust relationship of sandbox between traders and players, and then kind of build on like kind of trustable relationships and trustable projects on it. Because whenever a Web3 company is announcing a partnership with another Web3 game company, it's just a tweet, right? So it's like you collab with someone, but you don't really know what's gonna happen and stuff. For Sandbox, if you do collaboration with uh, uh, some company, like so you basically launch a game or an experience with that partner, and then you basically create the avatar collection. You basically touch the real audience with real digital products. So that's actually the one of the key elements for growth too.
Right. I wanted to sort of pivot and talk about Hungry Games because you guys started out as a Web2 studio, and you mentioned to me that your latest game was actually Web3, which is actually there are quite I would say there are quite a number of Web2 studios who do enter into Web3, but a lot of them not so successfully. Um, Sort of like what was the strategy that you deployed at Hungry Games to sort of make that leap?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really big motivation for Hungry Games to go into the Web3 gaming is we just checked the profile of Web3 gaming companies back in that time, right? The founders and people working there and stuff. I would say like 95% of the Web3 gaming companies are not like founders are not coming from gaming, like traditional gaming. So they are rather work as a project manager somewhere, or they are coming from crypto space or like marketing space and so on. And that's actually why we are seeing a bit of a struggle within the Web3 gaming, because most of the Web3 gaming projects who failed or who's failing or who will fail, they have rather not the correct founders who have no idea about gaming. I mean, they have no idea about like game design, game economy, or and so on. And then so what they do literally they just launch their token and they got huge investment. I also know like people who got 50 million, $20 million investment just with the, with a nice trailer CGI of the game. And we saw this actually. We saw that this is not really right, and why we should just prove ourselves that the games, playable games, are actually existing in the space, and let's do it right, because it's also not ending when you launch the game, because you can create a really good game with using some outsourced studios, but once you launch the game, you need to also do live ops, right? So the events in the game and the whole economy needs to, it's a kind of live ops work. So, and that's actually missing in the Web3 part, and that's why what we are very strong at, because even in my previous projects, Free Fire, and we were also launching Game of Thrones, Winter's Coming game on web with user games, we were actually focusing only on live ops. So live ops is very important. I mean, after you launch the game, so you basically keep players happy, right, with the retention and everything, with all these different elements and so on. So that's we saw a great opportunity there. So kind of like a weakness of Web3 gaming companies, and we just want to prove ourselves by shifting our focus to Web3 a bit to prove that Web2 gaming studios can actually build better Web3 games.
What is What is one thing or a couple of things that new Web3 gaming founders miss when producing and creating games?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like too much of exposure. Like, so whenever I talk to some Web3 gaming folks, which are doing extremely well in terms of publicity, and PR. So they basically do too much marketing like this, like over marketing themselves to be able to pump the token a bit, And you see a lot of influencers and creators talk, and I don't see too much like cases where you see a really good game, you know, like game is doing like really good revenue and having community, and then the founders are talking. So they are doing too much mistake in terms of being visible and at really early stage. I mean, it's also okay, so you can be visible to community, and you should just say that you are developing the game from time to time. But there are too much promises, and too much high-level targets from Web3 gaming founders that they communicate too early before proving something, and that creates a big disappointment within the community, and then the token price is going down, and things happening really fast in Web3, and this creates a big disappointment sometimes.
How would you recommend Web3 founders to do it then? Because you could say that, or you could argue that most Web3 founders, at least those who don't have, let's say, lots of money to produce a really good game from the get-go, actually uses their token and actually the hype to fund making the actual game, right? So Web3 kind of works backwards than Web2, which is you get a lot of hype, you raise a token, and then you produce the game, which is why a lot of Web3 founders are really good at marketing and they produce a very strong video to raise the money.
Hmm.
But your
Yeah,
suggestion,
I mean,
as you mentioned just now, I guess, is they market too much. How would you recommend?
I would definitely suggest the Web3 founders who are not coming from gaming, they should not launch any game to be able to make some money on the token and stuff, because they will literally fail. I mean, gaming businesses. I mean, I can tell you some numbers from Web2 gaming. The just becoming, getting a hit rate is now 1.8% of the whole games is launching is becoming hit. I
Wow.
mean, hit means like you stay in the market and you can keep your company thing. So it's so difficult on the Web2 gaming market, like you only have 1% chance of becoming getting a hit game. On the Web3 is even worse. More difficult, because then you need to basically attract Web2 gamers, and then you should become a hit and stuff like this. And if you're not coming from gaming, it's gonna be more difficult and difficult. So you will fail at the end. And it's my like suggestion, like humble suggestion, onto Web3 founders who are entering the gaming space, and or maybe they should find a co-founder which is coming from gaming and stuff. And the secondly is actually like whenever they launch the token, that's fine. I think that's the right approach. That's why we are in Web3, right? So you basically can fund your project through the token launch or IDO process at early stage, and then with this money you can basically develop game. That's actually how we also did it with the Hungry Games. And whenever doing this process, you basically need to launch some part of the game. You need to have at least like an APK, a playable game, or like some kind of KPI that you have to show to investors and to show to community, and then you can basically build hype on it. So if you start building hype really early stage with the token launch, and then you say that you're gonna be the top gaming and stuff like this, you will likely lose the community that you had in the beginning, and then this is gonna be really tough to create a community after that. So that's why you need to basically communicate the users at early stage that the game is coming. I mean, you have the team. You communicate more like in a humble way that the team is working on it. Maybe you should create some content around the production phase. That your investors and your community can see the game is coming and so on. And then once the game is there and the KPIs, first you see the first KPIs, retention rate, the first the MAUs, like or like closed beta kind of statistics and stuff. And then you can go all in with the hype, actually. and this will basically bring you up with the community. Otherwise, it's gonna be like really tough to relaunch it. The whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. I wanted to touch on a bit about what you mentioned earlier about game design and economy design within the game, because you could say like having a token in Web3 is a bit like having economy design, right? Gaming economy design, and you can slightly draw some parallels. But I wanted to sort of like pick your brain and ask like how should somebody think about their token in the game, and how what is the best way to think about tokenomics and game design and how that sort of merges together when building a game.
Yeah, that's actually the hottest topic. Like, and this question is actually asked to any Web3 gaming developer. The answer is not there yet. So actually, there's no single project yet. I mean, the new ones are doing well, but there are a couple of things that the new generation gaming studios did it well, and maybe I can explain a bit on this. So and because whenever you have token and the game is actually live, and then you have kind of integrated the token into the game, it's a bit of dangerous situation for the game developer or the game studio, because you basically have a community of traders who basically bought your token, right? And then you have gamers who are playing the game with the motivation of earning something in the future, or they like the game and then they play your game. So if you basically give too much airdrop, and you kind of feed your community, so your community is actually growing, but your trader, like investors, are unhappy because your token is dumping. You create an inflation kind of without knowing it, without intention. Without any like intention there, maybe. And but if you do vice versa, you don't really feed the community, and then you just keep the token price happy, and then you don't really do airdrop, so you don't have too much users also on the game. So then it's kind of like always like a dilemma in the gaming economy. So the ideal way to create a healthy economy is actually you have back in that time you had this governance token and utility token, right? So you have two tokens. Nowadays there is only one token solution. So you have your governance token, like your token that you did the idea with, and then you have a soft currency like in the Web2 games. So basically this soft currency can be so valuable. You can call it like a hard currency in the game, which you can basically exchange with the governance token. Governance token can actually buy those hard currency, but hard currency cannot buy the governance token. If you do vice versa, you create inflation, and then you basically, as a gaming studio, you have control of managing the supply in this case. And then the second one is actually the NFTs in the game needs to be actually controlled a bit by the company, because you have always this dashboard as a gaming studio, right? So when you come to the office, you see like how many people are owning those NFTs and how much gold they own now. So based on this, you need to create events, like live op events. You basically need to create content so that you can basically get people consume some of the tokens, some of the currency that they earn from the thing with these events. This way you basically create a really healthy economy, because you don't have like only play to earn people who's just there for playing your game for getting some tokens. You also have like users who will play the game because it's fun, and then it's also like keeping your economy kind of safe, because you have lots of events, mini events in the game where users are actually spending those currencies, and then the token value is actually going to be kind of be like a stable within that time. And one of the other things for the gaming economy and the trading part of the things for the studios, whenever there is this narrative effect of the games, right? Like So whenever you do some liquidity in the game, let's say like you launch a game and then you make some revenue like $100,000 for the first launch month. So that $100,000 revenue is actually a worth of $1 million in the token side. So you basically, as a game developer, you need to know how to increase liquidity through this gaming action. Because if you make a 100K economy within your gamers, you need to basically find a way to make it $1 million liquidity on the token side. So that's actually how you can grow the thing. Because nowadays, most of these new generation gaming, Web3 gaming studios, they basically make more money on their market making, or like on their token liquidation and stuff, rather than the in-game revenues. And therefore, it's really important to know, how to set up the right liquidity pool, which chain you should go with. You need to basically be on the chains that is giving you a bit of value, right? Like where the liquidity is. I mean, so that's actually very important. Like the whole aspects that whenever you do the game launch and then you do keep the economy safe and you make revenue. But on the other side, you need to know how to make it 10x on the other side.
Yeah, that is definitely. I can see why that is the hardest thing to think about when in Web3, especially from the Web3 gaming side.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why actually Web3 gaming is very interesting for investors too, because whenever, as I mentioned, like let's say like you make a game and then you make $1 million revenue on monthly, so that's equivalent to $10 million on the Web3 space, because the valuation of the company is actually higher compared to Web2 gaming companies. I'm helping a couple of gaming companies to their M&A, structure, like investment stuff. It's really, right now it's really difficult to find a investor for a company doing $1 million a month, revenue on the Web2 space. I had the case. But it's really easy. I can easily sell to any company and which is doing $1 million on the Web3 side, because that's actually a really big potential. A Web3 gaming company is making $1 million a month.
Yeah, yeah. And so what is you mentioned before that there was a price target of 25 billion by 2025. Do you think we will hit that, or and if not, what does the future look like from the Web3 gaming side?
No, actually, that was the target in 2023. I think we are staying around 6 billion now, 6 billion, 7 billion with the current numbers at the end of this year. And the projection will be in 10 years. There was like 2032 was it, I think. We were expected to hit $100 billion. It's like same kind of market volume, slightly lower than the mobile gaming. The whole mobile gaming market is like 150 billion. And I think we're gonna still kind of target this number, like 100 billion in 10 years time with the Web3 gaming space. But I don't think it's gonna come with the play to earn business model. I think there's another business model just evolving right now, because play to earn business model is very focused on this earning, and trader and stuff, and it doesn't really serve too much to the gamer economy. So but within the Web3 space, there are lots of other business models evolving right now, and I think if it happens, we can easily see the 100 billion target in Web3 gaming.
What business model do you think will take us there?
It might be like still like a free to play. It's a free to play kind of mixed with Web3 kind of adoption. I don't know, to be honest. The time will show us, because right now we see games which is not only serving play to earn audience. We also see games which is making fun in Web3 space. And then most of those games actually offering both, you can buy in-app purchase and you can also choose web crypto payment. So it's like kind of mixed payments you see. And that's the new business model, kind of like a hybrid kind of model. So this could be one thing that would grow everything. really fast, because then you have users whose like mass adoption is gonna happen, you know, quickly with the credit card payment or micro payments. But at the same time, you have also crypto users paying for the thing. Yeah, that will be actually a kind of like a hybrid kind of model. I think coming
Yeah.
within the next year.
Yeah. So I think it's very easy, a very interesting thing to track how we're definitely going to get to the 100 billion. We're coming up on our time together. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about gaming. I wanted to leave some time to give you some time to say something to the audience, some wrap up closing thoughts on the gaming space, and maybe some advice for those that are listening who really like the Web3 gaming space. Maybe they're investors, maybe they're builders. What is one thing that you would say to them that we can end on?
Yeah, actually, for the Web3 gamers and also like the audience investors who are investing in gaming, gamify part, I would say they should be a bit of patient with this thing, because gamify is actually losing hype sometimes and then it's coming back. For example, it came back last week, and then also Sandbox is one of the top gainers. We hit $1 again, and then with the bull run, we will see a lot of 100x's coming up again within the gamify studios. But they need to basically search those companies and see what they do for gamer, whether they can create some revenue in the game, and whether it can influence the token, rather than just watching CGI and invest in this kind of type thing. And I would say like they should definitely keep a big eye on the gaming, because that could be one of the top kind of industry after AI. I mean, together with AI, where will bring a lot of 100x projects, in 1 week even, when the real bull run happening. And then for the Web3 gamers, I mean, they will basically see a lot of top games coming up. I mean, also with the new investors in the space, we will see a lot of big names entering the space. Those Web3 gaming industry is gonna be growing and growing. I think Indonesia, South Asia is like Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam. They are the leading in terms of gaming gamers, Web3 gamers, and then we will see even like more numbers coming up in the next year. But yeah, in terms of investment, just be patient and just do the right investment in the right tokens, and then the time will come.
Yeah, what Sandbox definitely did hit $1. I'm a big holder of Sandbox. Um, where do you think it's gonna reach this bull cycle? Not financial advice,
Uh,
but what do you think?
yeah, I have no idea. I mean, that's actually the question that you can ask Sebastian. I think we can make a separate session on this if you want. And but yeah, it was really like nice to see that Sandbox is coming back
Making a
to the old
move.
level. It also shows the strength of gaming, like, and also like strength of
Yes,
Sandbox, to be honest. And but yeah, we can definitely make a separate session if you guys want on this. Yeah,
cool. Arslan, thank you for your time. I really appreciate diving into everything about gaming.
yeah, thanks, Daniel. It was a nice talk.
Yeah, and for everybody who wants to find out more about Arslan, about the sandbox, and about Hungry Games, we're going to put that all into the description. You can find it all below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.